Hi, this is Shade Foray with TaxSaleSupport.com. I'm here with Steven Swenson, and this is another one of our Property Deal of the Week videos. This week, we're actually going to be looking at sold properties that sold at tax sale auctions.
Yeah, and today we're going to be looking at the state of New York. Now, New York is a tax deed state, which means that they go ahead and foreclose on the property and auction the actual property off at the sale.
Yeah, so we're getting these properties, great opportunities there, but throughout the state of New York. So one of the counties we're going to be looking at here, or the one that we're looking at today, is Chautauqua County. They just wrapped up their auction, so it was held and finished on July 21st and 22nd, and it was an online auction that was done through Auctions International.
Yeah, in fact, we had a couple of students that registered for this particular auction and actually ended up picking up some pretty good deals at the sale.
Yeah. Now, what I wanted to focus on here are a couple of these commercial opportunities that came up in the sale. So here is the first one. We can see that this property ended up getting a high bid of $105,000, selling for that. If we look at what it is basically commercial. It's a commercial office building, a professional building. It used to be, I think, a place for, I don't know if it was a dentist or a medical, some kind of a doctor's office.
Yeah, well, one thing that's interesting about it is you can see it was built in 1970s, so we're not talking about an incredibly old property, something from the 30s or 40s or something. We also see that it's pretty big. I mean, we're talking about 7,300 square feet. Since it was built in the 70s, I would imagine it's probably been, updated and painted since that time. We'd have to really kind of get an idea of what the condition was by looking through it. But it does have a huge amount of possibility because you could go ahead and reuse it as something like that. You could sell it to a business that was going to use all of the office space. Or you could go ahead and sublease it and, have several different offices within the complex.
Yeah, really quite a few different directions you can take with it. The property has an assessed, market value of $239, and the full market, not sure on exactly, but it could easily be, quite a bit above that, especially if you had it remodeled.
Well, and one thing to think about with something like this, if we were able to go ahead and, let's say we fix this property up, and then we actually put in renters, then we could sell the property as an income-producing property versus just the property itself. And with that, you can get a lot higher price from it. I mean, really, if we just even look at what the assessed values were in this particular auction on homes and what the actual market value is, this property would probably be worth about $350 just based off of that same ratio.
Yeah. Very interesting property here, that they didn't pay a lot for. They picked it up for, probably less than 30 cents on the dollar or so,
yeah,
I bet.
I'd probably think about that as well.
Here's another one, another commercial property. So this one is an interesting one. They paid $105,000 for this one as well, $105,200. But this property is different. It is you can see that it's a pretty big building that we have set up here. More of like a warehouse style building here. I think at the time it was being used for prescription and medical supply. But it was built in 2005, you can see, which is so recent, and it's 18,000 square feet, the building, so it's a huge space in terms of what it can be used for. Also, I was blown away by the full market value on it at $573 for it to only sell for $105. Even if it needs work and stuff on the inside, it's been bought for so cheap that you can afford to do it.
Yeah, I mean, really, this is a massive, massive property when we're talking about 1,800 square feet. And really, in looking at it, where they picked it up for $105, even if we have some serious rehab that needs to be done on the property, it still was built in 2005. The structures should be good. The roof, for the most part, should be good. Things like that, where it's only been 16 years, 17 years or whatever since it was new, that stuff is all going to be intact. So it's going to be probably, if it does need rehab, things like sheetrock, or if it's not office space, then it might just be big warehouse space.
Yeah.
There's not much you're going to need to do with something like that.
Yeah, a limited amount of rehab, potential there that's needed. But, they bought it just for such a low percentage, of value. They bought it for basically like 20% of assessed.
Well, and with this particular property, if we were going to buy it, we could probably look into the county records more and find out exactly what the blueprints were, what the layout of it is, and at least get a better idea of, how many offices, are located within this particular property.
Yeah, what's the layout like?
Yeah, exactly.
Inside? Yeah, but an interesting one there. Now let's look at one more, that sold. So this property was one that also very interesting. It sold for $127,000. But if we're looking at what it is, it's zoned as manufacturing, land here. It is basically there's a warehouse here. You can see a couple of the double doors there on it. It is a 26,000 square foot warehouse, but this property is also sitting on 18.3 acres. So it's a nice big chunk of property there, but it's humongous warehouse space.
You can see how big the warehouse is when it's sitting on 18 acres.
Yeah, and it looks big.
Yeah,
still.
I mean, it looks like it's 4 acres or something. Like 3 acres big. I mean, it's a massive, massive property, and there's probably, I don't know what you could do with it. You'd have to really kind of figure out the use, and that's probably
it has all sorts of commercial applications, though. Probably, it's a humongous building there, and it's a lot of real estate. And they only paid $127,000 with a $572,000 assessment, and that could, and that's not even a market value. Who knows what the market value would be with this much land?
Yeah, well, and you can look there, and part of the land is actually farmland, or was being used as farmland. So, it has a ton of different uses. The land value there is a lot, by itself, and then who knows what you could do with that big, huge structure. But if you had the right business, it would be a perfect property to pick up, literally for 10, 15 cents on the dollar.
Yeah, well, and from the pictures, it looks like it's pretty well built. It looks like it was heavy duty.
I guess it was built in 1982. That's newer than I thought it would be.
Yeah. So it's not really that old when you're talking about the type of building it is for manufacturing here. They bought it so well. They bought this so well. They're gonna, because there's a chance that the market value could be way higher than what we're estimating there at $600,000.
Yeah.
So, it's one that they made that they did really, really well on.
Yeah, absolutely. All three of them were interesting properties. All of them were commercial properties. All of them were picked up for between 10 to 30 cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
All of them have potential profit margins. Where you could make literally hundreds of thousands of dollars on the deal.
Yeah, very interesting. Well, if you haven't been to secretsoftaxinginvesting.com to download our free ebooks, that's something that you should go do. You can download the ebooks and also register for any of the free webinars that we hold.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're interested in some additional training, you can actually become a member. You can either join our website at taxselfsupport.com, or we also have our YouTube memberships where you can join from $2.99 to $9.99 or $49.99 a month. And for the $49, that is actually going to include the membership to taxselfsupport.com as well.
Yeah, which really membership is just all about providing both tax sale lists and training, for those investors that are trying to do it on their own.
Yeah, thanks again, everyone.
Thank you.